Her aircraft was mocked. Then the commander said one word, Ghosthawk. What did Carina Chan build in a hangar no one believed in? And why did every radar die when it rose? Carina Chan grew up staring at contrails, not at jets, at the lines they left. She traced the arcs with her finger. How a curve widens, how a spiral softens. Her mind made shapes most people never see. She studied air, not just lift. She studied how wind changes mood near edges, how pressure hesitates over skin. She filled notebooks with sketches that looked wrong. Blunt noses, soft shoulders, no tail, no static. Everything flowed, like stealth myths. Subscribe now and comment Ghosthawk to unlock the next part. At the academy, they smirked. Pretty doodles? She smiled and kept drawing. She tested small models in a cheap tunnel she built from a drum, a shop fan, and incense. Smoke curled. Vortices linked like rings, drag fell, noise faded to a whisper. She called the shape a fold, not a wing, not a fuselage, a continuous fold. One surface, many jobs, like a manta ray that learned to hide. The grant board said no. Too soft, too odd. Her professor said, "You need sharp edges." She replied, "Edges make noise." He shrugged. Carina took a maintenance job at an old depot near the coast. The hangars smelled of oil and salt. Retired mechanics played cards at lunch. They saw her sketching on packing slips. "Build it," one of them said. "From what?" He kicked a crate. Inside lay scrapped panels, composite offcuts, and tubing. He grinned. From this, they welded a cradle. They trimmed foam. They baked resin in a hacked pizza oven. At night, gulls settled on the runway lights. The sea kept time. Carina slept on a camp cot. She talked to the shell as if it could hear. Breathe slower. Hold the boundary. Her hands learned the curve by memory. She hid the engines. Not inside, not outside. Buried in the fold. Intakes along shaded seams. Exhaust bled into voids. Heat had nowhere to shout. She printed a skin with micro ridges. Not random. A map of turbulence turned into pattern. Each ridge whispered to the next. Radar did not find edges to grab. The first taxi test happened at dawn. Fog sat low just above the grass. The fold rolled silent. Wheels hummed. No rooster tail of dust. Just a glide. 2 techs from the base fence filmed it and laughed. They posted clips. Comments exploded. Flying pancake. Paper boat. Will it bring syrup? Carina kept working. Fuel lines. Flight computer. A canopy that refused to betray a pilot's head. Everything sunk into the curve. The base commander heard the jokes. He drove over. He found a young woman with resin on her sleeves in a machine that looked like a creature at rest. He asked one question. Does it fly? Carina held his gaze. Yes, it flies. He studied the seams. He saw the calm in the surfaces. He saw no place for the air to trip. Tomorrow, he said. Before the tower wakes, night fell cold. She checked every fastener twice. She listened to the fuel pumps purr. Her heartbeat matched the priming hum. In the dark, someone scraped the hangar door. A shoe, a whisper. A phone lens glinted. The rumor mill had arrived. Carina killed the lights and stood very still. Footsteps faded. Silence returned. She set the alarm for 04:10. She lay on the cot, eyes open, staring at the curve she had made with her hands. Not sleek, not mean, something else. She did not sleep. At 4:05, the wind shifted. A dry gust rolled through the gaps and made the skin sing. A low, glassy note. She sat up. Outside, beyond the door, tires crunched on gravel. More than one vehicle. Idle. Wait. Blue strobes washed the seams of the fold. The hangar latch lifted. Light spilled in. Boots crossed the line. The commander wasn't alone. "Ms. Chan," a new voice said, "step away from the aircraft." She didn't move. Air smelled like rain and copper. A figure raised a folder. Logos, seals, words like restricted and unauthorized test. Carina looked past them. Through the open hangar, dawn split the fog into bands. The runway was clear. The fold was ready. She licked dry lips. "Then stop me," she said. Engines whispered awake. The curve trembled, eager. The boot surged, and Carina ran for the ladder. She climbed fast. Seat, harness, switches up. Fuel on, power off, glow across the glass. Stop the start. Someone shouted. A hand hit the fuselage. It felt like a gnat touching a whale. The fold rolled. Nose dipped. Taxi lights off, no beacon. Silence except for soft-bearing whine. The commander didn't shout. He paced in front, palms open. His eyes said both danger and dare. "Carina," he said, steady. "Talk to me." She kept the brake held. She met his stare through the canopy's smoked arc. "This runway is abandoned from 4 to 5, she said. He nodded once. "You read the order, good." He stepped aside. The other suits didn't. They blocked the path. Phones up, badges forward, the fold turned on a dime. A smooth crescent. Carina skipped them safe. She rolled to the far end where grass chewed pavement. She lined up on cracks and weeds. Fog hung like a curtain. Beyond it only gulls, throttle to breathe. Engines answered softly. No roar, just pressure rising. The fold shivered, not from strain but from wanting to lift. She released brake. Wheels began to sing. The commander watched, arms folded now. Not stopping her, measuring. The suits ran along the edge. One tripped. The other slowed, speed built. 40, 60, 90. The nose did nothing dramatic. It simply eased free of weight. The fold skimmed. A gull rose in panic. It veered. The fold did not. Air made room, the main wheels left. The ground let go, climb, low and flat. No wake to see, she kept it level. Hands steady, eyes on the fog line. If the tower woke, she'd be a rumor. At 200 feet, she eased into the mist. The world turned to milk. Her instruments were simple. Angle, speed, battery draw. No music, no games. Just truth. Out of the fog, a coastline appeared. Dark water, pale breakers. Carina smiled into the glass. It flew. It actually flew. She kept it quiet. Power sipped. Heat went nowhere. The sunrise tried to paint the fold. Light slid off. Even the sky couldn't get a grip. Her radio chirped. Not tower. Not local. A scrambled band. Unidentified craft, call sign unknown, state intentions. She stayed quiet. Another chirp. Coast Guard sees you. Your transponder is dead. She had no transponder. She had no plan for this part. She banked left. The fold leaned like a thought. Sea to starboard. Dunes to port on the beach. 2 kids pointed up. They heard nothing. They saw a shadow glide, the radio again. "Ms. Chan, if that's you, land or come north now." The voice was the commander. Calm, hard. Carina exhaled. She pictured his face, measuring. She pictured the badges, the folder. She pushed the nose down and ran the shoreline at hedge height. Sand blew in puffs under the pressure field. Water stayed smooth. The fold cut no spray. And then the fog wall opened on a shape she did not expect. A cutter, gray, deck guns covered. Crew lined the rail. A pad had been cleared on the bow. Big white X, the commander's voice. "Bring it to me." Not a request. Not a threat. A line thrown. Her hands hovered. She looked at the little X. Her landing gear were narrow. Her test plan did not include boats. A second voice cracked in. "Do not land." Repeat, "Do not land." Airspace closure pending. Legal cadence. Same badges. Different leash. She could climb and vanish in cloud. Let the fold be rumor forever. Live small. Hide, or she could land on steel under eyes in history. Trade the jokes for a judgment day. Bet everything on what the air already knew. She cut power. The fold sank. Spray reached up in fingers. The deck swelled and fell. Wind shifted. A gust rolled under the curve. The craft rocked. The X rose to meet her. The commander stood at the rail, both hands raised, palms open, as if calming a skittish animal. The wheels kissed paint. Rubber squealed. The bow dipped, and something heavy hit the deck behind her, hard enough to shake the ship. Carina held the brakes. The fold settled. The deck crew froze. Behind her, sailors ran to the stern. A crane swung. Metal clanged. Someone yelled for stretchers. Her heart kicked. She cut the engines. Air rushed in. Sudden noise. Seamen gulls collapsed on her. A petty officer signaled her to stay put. Hands up. Fingers splayed. The commander reached the ladder. He climbed with the steady rhythm of someone who never wastes motion. He stood by the canopy. Gray eyes. Salt on his collar. Up close, he looked more tired than stern. "Ms. Chan," he said. "Breathe." She did. He pointed to the stern. A small drone lay there, broken. Not hers. Its casing was scorched. Its prop arms were long and thin like a spider's. "It fell out of the fog," he said. "Right after you crossed the wall." She frowned. "Was it tracking me?" He didn't answer. He just looked at the fold. He ran one finger along a seam without touching it. He listened to silence as if it could confess. "You built this here?" he asked. "In that boneyard of a hangar?" "Yes." "With whose money?" "Mine." And scrap. He nodded like that fit a story he already had. It doesn't read on surface search, he said. Radar saw a bird. Infrared saw a cloud. The lookout saw a smudge that wasn't a wave. He walked to the stern again. The broken drone smoked. Its lens was cracked, but it stared with that dull round eye cameras always have when they've already seen too much. The legal voice returned on a handheld. Commander, stand by. We are dispatching aviation security. Secure the craft. Secure Ms. Chan. He clicked off the radio without replying. We're not doing that, he said softly, to no one and to everyone. Deck crew glanced at each other. They obeyed the voice they could see. He turned back to Carina. Tell me what this is. She chose her words like tools.
It's a fold.
One surface. No joints where air can trip. Engines are sunk. Heat diluted. Skin is patterned to break coherence. Air can't grab. Waves can't stick. Sound dies. That's why it looks kind. He looked pleased at the last word. He gestured at the broken drone. Someone didn't like kind. He waved her down from the cockpit. Her legs wobbled when they hit the deck. She put a palm flat on the skin. Warm. Alive in a way machines aren't supposed to feel. Walk with me, he said. They paced the bow, then the stern. He listened more than he spoke. She described how the intake shaded itself, how the exhaust never coalesced, how micro-ridges whispered to each other. He never asked for equations. He asked for why. What did the jokes do to you? He asked finally. They trained me, she said, to ignore noise. A helicopter thumped miles away, low and coming. The commander's jaw tightened. Air security, he said. They will not be curious. They will be loud, Carina nodded, small. I can hide it, she said. He raised an eyebrow. How? She pointed at the water. The fold's belly had a sheen, like fish skin. It shed light differently near edges. Let me get it inside, she said. Give me 10 minutes. When they land, they see a tarp. They see scrap, he checked his watch. He checked the horizon. He checked her face. 8 minutes, he said. They rolled the fold toward a bay under the bridge where tarps hung and crates sat. Sailors pulled ropes. Carina directed with her hands as if coaxing a whale into a cove. The helicopter grew loud. Deck crew clipped their helmets. Wind kicked grit. Carina ducked under the fold. She snapped on battery. Tiny actuators shifted panels a few millimeters. The curve slackened. Edges changed slope. Light forgot what it had just learned. She threw a canvas over the nose. From 10 feet it looked like junk. From 2 feet it looked like clever junk. The helicopter roared overhead. Men with harnesses stepped out. Badges gleamed even through salt spray. Where is the unauthorized aircraft? A helmet shouted. The commander pointed at the tarped heap and shrugged. Scrap, she never made it off the ramp. The helmet stared at the heap. His eyes slid right off it. Human minds are like radar. They need edges, he scowled, unsatisfied. A sailor ran up with a tablet. Sir, he said, urgent. Cameras in the fog, not ours. And that drone wasn't alone. Show me. The screen played a loop of gray. Then 3 small shadows moved like stingrays. No rotors, no wings. Just motion in a medium. They came because of her, the sailor said. The helmet turned. He saw Carina for the first time as more than background. What else did you bring us, Ms. Chan? She opened her mouth to answer. The tablet alarm screamed and the ship went dark. The generators didn't fail. They bowed. Every display dimmed as if a hand cupped the bulbs. Comms hissed and died. Even the helicopter lost its bite and wobbled up in a way to nurse power. Sailors don't like silence. They filled it with orders. Flashlights bloomed. Boots hammered metal. The commander stayed very still. He listened to the quiet. He looked up. Mast lights were ghosts. EMP? The helmet said. Not like any I know, the commander replied. Carina felt the fold at her back. Warmth ghosted through the tarp. The skin hummed at a frequency she felt in teeth more than ears. She crawled under. She touched a seam. The hum matched the pitch her wind tunnel used to sing when the flow went perfect. Don't, a sailor hissed. Stay clear of that thing. She pulled her hand back. She peered toward the stern. Sea lay flat as poured glass. That was wrong. There should be chop. There should be pattern. Out beyond the wake, 3 shadows moved. Not drones, not fish. Something that shaped the surface without touching it. Commander, Carina said, quietly urgent. Those are shaping fields. They're bending air over water. Same trick I use, different scale. He came under the tarp, not caring that his uniform would stain. He squinted at the glow that wasn't light. Can you counter it? He asked. Not with force, she said. With softness, he held her gaze. Translate that into orders. She breathed once to settle her voice. I need to wake the fold. Not loud, not bright. I need it to sing the water back into pattern. The sea loves pattern. The helmet ducked under. No power-ups. Are we clear? We're already lit up to whatever is out there, the commander said. Let her work, the helmet started. Sir, regulation. File it later, the commander said, and that was the end of regulation. Carina slid into the cockpit. No startup, no spin. Just battery on. Whisper systems only. Micro actuators flexed the skin. Ridge maps shifted like a flock turning. She tuned by instinct. A half degree here. A tiny bulge there. The fold hummed, gentle as the throat of a cello. Outside, the sea shivered. Then it rippled. Tiny waves returned around the bow like a body remembering how to breathe. The shadows paused. They drifted closer, curious or wary. Carina lowered a panel on the belly by 2 fingers' width. Air under the curve curled into a ring and rolled aft. The ring met the next ring. Coherence grew. The ship's wind found purchase again. A pennant lifted. The generators climbed from their bow. Lights flickered, then held. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, a sailor murmured, awe leaking through the grit. The helmet's radio popped back. Voices crashed in, tangled, demanding logs, positions, reasons. He hung it on his vest and left it to babble. On the horizon, the shadows decided. They fanned out. One slid left. One slid right. One came on. Carina felt the change before anyone saw it. The air at the bow thickened. She adjusted the belly ring. She shifted the skin near the intakes to break the grip. The oncoming shadow raised a fin of water without breaking the surface. Then it sank it, and a long, low-pressure trough ran straight at the hull. Brace, the commander said, too calm to be dramatic. The trough met the bow and tried to steal stability. The ship rolled half a degree and stopped. The fold's hum answered with a note that canceled the trick, like singing back to a tuning fork until it forgets its own pitch. The shadow darted aside. It didn't like being ignored. Is that a negotiation? The helmet whispered. It's a test, Carina said. They wanted to see if their field could own ours. It can't. Not here. Not with this curve. The commander nodded once. Name it, he said. What are we up against? She looked out at the shy shapes. She thought of manta rays. She thought of skates. We're up against craft that learned from the same ocean I watched, she said. Different builders. Same teacher, crew murmured. The helmet finally found his voice. Foreign? Maybe, the commander said. Maybe not. Unknown is the right word, he turned to Carina. Can you move it? He meant the fold. Not to fly, she said. To lean. Lean, then she breathed like a diver. She tilted the field a fraction. The tarp changed shape as if a sleeping animal stretched. The nearest shadow eased away. Respectful, not fearful. As if it had recognized a bigger animal in the bay. The deck speakers coughed back to life. The bridge called the commander by rank and full name. Sir, we have eyes. Not ours, above the fog. And a message, narrow beam. Read it, he said. A petty officer swallowed. We will come when you say the word Ghosthawk. Silence sat hard. The helmet stared at Carina. The commander stared at the sea, and she looked at the fold, which felt like a secret that wanted to be told. Words can be tools. Words can be traps. Ghosthawk sounded like both. The commander didn't rush. He walked to the rail. He smelled the metallic breath of a ship getting its pulse back. He watched the shy shadows draft each other. Ms. Chan, he said without turning. Is this a hawk? No, she said. It's a manta that learned to climb. He smiled small. Good. Then the name is only a signal. It's not the truth, he looked at the helmet. You will hear me say something over the net. You will not repeat it outside this deck. Clear? The helmet nodded, cornered by duty into obedience. The commander lifted the handheld to his mouth. He did not shout. He spoke as if reading a line in a poem he liked. This is the commander, he said. This is the Ghosthawk, the speakers clicked. The fog seemed to lean in to listen. Far above the gray, something whispered back. Not words, a texture in the air. Like silk rubbing silk, the 3 shadows turned together. They drew arcs over the glass. They parked themselves in a triangle around the ship just beyond wake. The bridge reported, voice hushed though they had mics. Contacts holding. Bearing stable. No ID. A line of motes fell from the fog. Tiny, bright as pollen. They drifted down like patient snow and stopped 6 feet above the deck. They hung there, counting time. The helmet took a step back. The sailors took 2. Carina stepped forward. She lifted her hand under a mote. It moved to stay 6 feet up. She laughed, unexpected and honest. It's listening to pressure, she said. It wants a constant. The commander's radio popped again. Another narrow beam message. We are not your enemy. We watched your fold. We share the curve. We wanted to see if you heard the ocean the way we do. Who is we? The helmet asked the empty air. The motes shifted like a flock deciding where to turn. One drifted toward the tarp. It traced the arc, never touching. It paused where the fold seam was hidden. It hummed, faint and kind. Carina swallowed. Her throat felt new. She spoke to the mote as if it deserved the truth. I studied rays. I watched how water forgives shape if you let it. I copied what listens. The mote brightened. Up in the fog, a shadow uncloaked its intent for 1 second. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a drone. It was an absence with edges. A contour of nothing cut from the sky. Then it hid its face again. The bridge fed another message. Names are for those who own edges. Keep yours. We keep ours. But share the song. The bad ones steal.